to Bhagavan Shri Ram Krishna. Today we are going to look at disassociation from distractions. Like we know, whenever we start something, some activity, there is distraction before we begin that activity, in the middle of that activity, and after it's over. So what we are going to see is how to eliminate distractions during meditation. As you know, when we sit down, the first distraction is the body, of course, because the mind wants to naturally plunge into meditation. First, that's a big distraction, but that can be eliminated. The second is the mind. The mind itself is a big distractive element, but then we've got to meditate with the mind. Well, there is a method. First is when we close our eyes, since the eyes are closed, the mind wants to know what exactly is happening around. The work of the mind and the brain is to protect this body from any dangers. So, when we close our eyes, the hearing and the touch sensation becomes very dominant. And a door opening or a phone ringing or something like this is bringing out the mind's tendency to look outside. So here we have this idea that when we see this, when you close our eyes, what happens is we find our attention moving outside. That's the biggest distraction. Okay. Now this distraction can be eliminated. Like I said, if you keep on focusing, the mind is curious, and that mind, curious mind, has to be engaged. When you know your surroundings, what they are, then you are in your safe space. You don't need to get frightened or bothered. That's the work of the subconscious mind. That's to keep the body protected. And then when we close our minds, externally those distractions are over, and internally then we have this whole waves of the mind coming one after another and another and another, waves in the mind. And sometimes they are so huge, lot of distractions. It's like, one after another. We try to surf across the waves, over the waves, but then the movement itself of the mind waves, the chitta vritti, is terrible. Those are the deep-seated waves. And then as we try to calm the mind slowly, you can visualize your own mind and with the waves inside. And when you see those waves inside, you find that these waves are simply unstoppable. The mind itself is a kind of a chaos. It's distracted. And you have to pull this whole thing inside and keep it focused. The idea is now, how do we do this? There is a list of distractions that we have. These distractions are in the forms of old memories. And all these old memories are in different stages. So what is the first, you can say, distraction? The very first distraction, as we can see, As we have seen, it's your own body. Keep it perfectly still. Perfectly still. As you close your mind, don't rush into meditation, but take a witness attitude towards what you are seeing on the mind. Because the moment you rush inside, you find things are popping up from underneath. So the Yoga Sutras talks about doubt, diseases. The unhealthy body is an obstacle, I say. Doubt whether all these years that I'm doing, whether it's fruitful or no. Lethargy, mental laziness, lack of enthusiasm. Then a little deeper and more serious ones are remembering old sense enjoyments, old memories of things that you have done. And then false memories or false perceptions, things that you had not known correctly, you had not known adequately, which have changed. But those old memories, old perceptions are now there, and they are still in the state of, they're like false memories. Okay. So the Yoga Sutras talks about, we have Vyadi, Sthana, Samshaya, Pramada, Alasya, Avirati, Bhranti Darshana. There's a long list, another list, but this is kind of representative. And then we have another list, a sub list that the yoga aphorisms gives: grief, dukkha, daurmanasya, weakness of the mind, the shakings of the body, anga majatva, swasa praswasa, that is the irregularity of the breath. So we start with the distractions first, how to control it by equalizing the breath, keeping the body perfectly still. And as you keep it perfectly still, the breath becomes equalized. The mind that was curious about outside things is now just settling down. The waves of the mind are now settling down. It is at this stage where these old internal distractions do arise. These old internal distractions are the old memories. All what you have done, said, thought are there. But they are not equally, you can say, powerful. Some memories are powerful in morning, some in the afternoon, some in the evening, etc. There are some memories that are, you can say, weakened. And there are some memories that are expanded. So the yoga aphorisms speaks about 4 states of the memory. The impressions or samskaras remain in 4 forms. One is the prasupta, that is dormant. We see, like Swami Vivekananda says, it's like innocent, like a child. Well, but we do not know how the child will grow up, in what way. So some of the impressions are sleeping, dormant. The next type of impressions that we have are attenuated. That is, you have gone through certain experiences, you have also rejected those experiences as bad or good or whatever. But they are so far away, so distant in the past, that we have the whole thing as attenuated. And then the third thing that we have is some of those things are overpowered. There's one set of experiences are overpowered by the next set of experiences that you have. So these are vichinna. And the fourth is expanded. Certain impressions have just expanded completely. You try to stop them and they are not amenable to any control. They are not amenable to any kind of, you can say, pacification. So dormant, attenuated, overpowered, and expanded. So impressions in the mind are in these four states. We don't need to bother about the dormant, let them sleep. We don't need to bother about the attenuated, because they are attenuated, they do not bother us. Third one, overpowered, that also is not to be bothered, because some old experiences are overpowered by something else. They're kind of, the old experiences are cut into pieces and they're overpowered by a new set of experiences. Take, for example, your meditative practices. But what is more, you can say, troublesome or distractive is this expanded. These expanded, you can say, memories. Something or the other happens and the mind simply can't let go of those impressions. Certain distractions do arise and the mind simply is not able to push it away, and you keep on getting distracted. So you have a distracted meditation. Okay. Now, when we're talking about the actual practices, what we need to do is, the Yoga Sutras talks about to eradicate these distractions. The study of one subject has to be made. That is, don't run behind this mantra and that deity and make your mind focused on one mantra, one deity, or one form, or one particular set of practices. It kind of cuts a deep groove in the mind, and that groove has to be deepened and deepened and deepened through one particular set of practices. Now, when we start, the mind has four powers. We do not realize, but then these things are there which can be used now in order to bring the mind under control and eliminate the distractions. The first is stillness. The mind has the two powers of stillness and movement. You may think, oh really? Yes. The mind can hold on to a particular thing and keep it still. At the same time, there's another power of that in the mind that can make that still thing move about. So these things, these two powers, the centrifugal and the, you can say, the gravitational, as in the external world, the mind has the capacity to keep a thing still and also to move it about. The third power in the mind is that of memory. Yes, you use the good memories, the perfect set of memories, the meditative memories, or the memories of your own real nature, of the deity, of the mantra. That is the using memories. That's the power of memories. Yes, it's a very powerful factor. Memories can distract you. Memories can also remove those distractions if you fix it. So that is, you can say, memory. And then we have the fourth is the power of imagination. Yes, what happens is we can imagine all sorts of things. But in a particular meditative practices, all these imagination and then you can say memories, and then the stillness of the mind and the movements, the mind's capacity can be used to bring about this old, you can say, control over the mind. Okay. And now we see that these 4 factors that we are talking about, remember, stillness, then you have something called, you can say, movement, you have something called the memory, and then you have imagination. So we are going to use these 4 powers of the mind to meditate. Okay. Now, how do you meditate? You take any object of meditation, and in any object of meditation, you will find, you take for example, take the picture of Shri Ram Krishna, or take the picture of any deity or any god or goddesses you like, anything, and you find that you can visualize it using these 4 powers. So, like I said, stillness, movement, imagination, memory, all these 4 powers can be used to now see how we can use these to fix it on Shri Ram Krishna or any other deity you like. So when you meditate on a deity, anyway, generally it's done here. What do we generally do? When you meditate, it's a one-dimensional picture. No, I would like you to meditate on it as 3-dimensional. This is the perfect way of meditation. It's 3-dimensional, and then you have this idea that like you are circumambulating Sri Ram Krishna. Like Sri Ram Krishna or Shiva or Vishnu or the goddess Durga or Holy Mother or Swamiji or Buddha or Christ or any image that you project in your mind, you are, as it were, circumambulating that 3-dimensional picture. Okay, let's start with this. So close your eyes, please. Now see within you the image of the god or goddess you like to meditate upon. Now see this whole image in 3-dimensional, in vivid color, and this is making use of all these 4 faculties of the mind: memory, imagination, movement, stillness. It's a power that you have, and you're utilizing it to visualize the image in color, in 3-dimension, and you are, as it were, circumambulating. You're using the stillness and the movement faculties of the mind to meditate. Dive deep inside. And see this picture within your heart in 3-dimensional, floating, as it were, in that space of the mind. And when we are seeing this picture, We are seeing it in three-dimensional. Bring your focus there in three-dimensional. The picture of Sri Ramakrishna should be seen in three-dimensional. See it as it is floating. You can use the mantra Om, and you are, as you are chanting the word Om, you are, as it were, going clockwise round the deity. And now go anti-clockwise around the deity. The deity is in three-dimensional, floating in the space of the mind, and you are with your mind's eye circumambulating. Clockwise and anti-clockwise. Now see the same image, as it were, from below. Now move slowly and see this image, as it were, from top. Come back right in the front, and now stabilize the image and stabilize yourself. Through the mind's eye, you're seeing in color the picture in 3D. Once again, go clockwise. Around the object, and again go anti-clockwise while repeating Om. 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 We'll stop here, and if you can use these techniques to meditate on an object in three-dimensional, in color, it enhances that meditation. It will eliminate all the distractions. And this is very important because we have something called, can say, the using the powers of the mind to remove the distractions in the mind. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. No question. So we see you again next Saturday. Jai Shri Ram Krishna.
There is actually just one question.
We have a question.
Swami, my background is in Christian. I'm having some difficulty changing the image of Christ for the image of Sri Ramakrishna.
Oh, please.
How can I achieve it?
You please use, when you are meditating alone in your room, in your house, at your meditation time, use a picture of Christ. Simple as that. I'm not asking you to stick to one picture. This is a representative picture that we have given, an image you could use. You could do it with the image of Buddha. You can use it with any the goddess, the numerous goddesses, anything. But it has to be a divine image. That is one of the conditions. And then you can use the name of Christ as you are visualizing and meditating. That's it.
What to do if thoughts come while doing this?
That is the problem. The whole talk was on removing the distractions. And if when thoughts come, they are distractive thoughts, as we have seen these 4 forms of impressions and the various distractions. These distractions, in the midst of these distractions, you need to keep on focusing on the object. Let distractions come and go. They will come and they will go. Don't pay attention to them. So keep on paying attention to the object of meditation. And as you keep on deeper and deeper, getting deeper and deeper, the distractions will get eliminated. Thoughts come and they are natural.
A follow-up comment from the question about the Christian picture. I know I don't have to, meaning changing the picture, but I would like to. Changing the picture of Christ.
Please do. Nobody is stopping you. Nobody is prohibiting you from anything.
But she can't visualize Ramakrishna.
You meditate on Christ, please. Now that this session is over, as you keep on meditating there in the privacy of your room, use Christ. It's not just, I can't. You can. That's the power of meditation.
You want to do one more question?
Yeah.
So, is it really possible to conquer lust, or is it just a theory, kind of out of the topic?
Generally, we tend to stick to the topic. But since you have asked the questions, yes, it is possible to control all passions. What do you mean theory? The whole of the yoga scriptures has been written on the basis of you have conquered it and now you practice it.
Is there any value in imagining my Ishta walking around?
There is a lot of, we can say, value in that. But make it realistic that your Ishta is with you, moving around with you. And keep it at the Ishta level only, your chosen ID level only. Don't imagine any other things, because that will be delusional. Okay? So you are meditating constantly on the presence of your chosen ideal as with you.
Is it better to say a mantra while meditating, or just to imagine the picture of the deity to get away from distraction?
It is better to use a mantra while visualization or meditation, because it is helping the other faculties of the mind, like meditation, your stillness and movement and memory and all these things. So if you have 2 motors, you want to reach somewhere fast, engines, you switch on both the engines. That's the idea.
I didn't really understand, but is it okay to sometimes lean back straight against the wall if the lessens the sensation of distraction?
Yeah, if you can, this, when the body needs to take a rest, so you lean back against something. That is not advisable as well. But in the initial stages, if you want to kind of lean back on something, you can, but try to sit down straight. The body has a capacity to sit straight. Use that. We won't ask you to lean back. Technically, that's wrong, but it is better than not doing anything. So if that stands as a bar or a distraction for your meditation, then lean back on something firm and try to sit up straight. That
Can I have ambient sound while meditating?
generally we do not recommend ambient sound while meditating. Your own thoughts and your own, you can say, mind is sufficient enough. You have a lot of ambience inside. Ambient sound outside for others is a distraction. For some, it is a help. I have seen students studying in the cafeteria study really deeply. Ambient sound sometimes acts as a kind of a, you can say, resource. But as you get down to deeper, the skills of meditators is close off all ambient sounds. But you cannot actually meditate in a vacuum also. I understand it. So to mask other disturbing sounds, you could use a slight soft music or a chant of, say, Om Namah Shivaya. See what works for you. Try both ways. And if you can be kind of comfortable with one, please do that.
Also, follow-up question. What to do when my legs fall asleep during meditation?
Well, you move your legs, huh? How long do you sit down? That depends. And a little yogasana or little exercises does help. The leg falling asleep is a universal problem, yes. But then start with 5 minutes, push it to 10 minutes. And when you see your legs falling asleep, get up, pace up and down, come and sit down once again and do that. And as you keep on practicing, your leg falling asleep will take its, you can say, will be delayed slowly.
Last question, Pranam Maharaj. Where is the best inner location to visualize the Ishta? The cave of the heart, the third eye, or no specific location?
No, the cave of the heart is the best place for you to meditate because this is very fruitful. This opens quickly. So this is the best place and is recommended by Shri Ramakrishna and all the sages. So here is the best place, in the cave of the heart. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.